Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. Got a cast in the cards for you guys today. Going down on Peace, which is really just a pizza map. We've got little slices of pizza here in the middle and a large spatula. I can't remember what these things are called, but it's the big things that you put a whole pizza on to put it into the oven. Little dots of tomato sauce. Actually, this is making me hungry. Just look at it. So before I decide to stop the cast here and go get pizza, let's go ahead and get introducing the players. So we're going to call Team 2 on the right and Team 1 on the left so that it agrees with Supreme Scoreboard. Starting in the northern position, we have Aranai, who is going Seraphim, opening first land. To his south, his teammate also going Seraphim is the Ruler, going Seraphim, opening first land. Continuing with our southern theme and apparently our Seraphim theme, we have Capelkeens going Seraphim, opening first land, and yet another Seraphim to his west. It's Lotos, I believe is how you pronounce that. Maybe it's Yotos if it's a double L, if it's Spanish. Going Seraphim, opening first land, and last but not least on team number 2, we have Dalgert. He's going Aeon, breaking the mold here. Going first land and got a couple land factories queued up in this proxy position. Shifting over to team number 1, because we're going backwards today, we have 28. He's playing the UEF, opening first land. To his north, we have Sir Kitna, who is going Seraphim, open first land. Com already on the move to the middle. To Sir Kitna's north, we have Kitty Cuddles. He is going Aeon in what I guess would be the air position on this map. He's going first land, second air. Continuing on to his east, we have Jakao. He is going Cybran, opening first land. And last but not least, in the most northern position, we have Kapka going UEF, opening first and second and third land. So lots of land on the cards for this UEF player. Zooming out, looking at reclaim on this map, we've got about 39,000 reclaim whenever the map started. Some of these guys have already vacuumed up a little bit of it, so we're down to 37,000 reclaim. Good amount of reclaim at the beginning of the game to help you make that transition to T2 mexes, T2 land, T2 air, whatever upgrades you're looking for. Gun damage and range already on the way here for 28. That's pretty early, although you do have access to 2 hydros, so that can help you stomach those upgrades a little bit sooner. Engineers out grabbing these more perimeter mass points. It looks like Dalgert has more mass points immediately available to him with kind of almost a secondary starting location here. With actually 28 has kind of a more secondary starting location as well. So maybe about even on the mass side of things. A couple of scouts out as well from Capelkeens. Doing a little bit of a run, grabbing some intel, spot that engineer, grabbing some of this middle reclaim, and there is a good amount of reclaim here in the middle in the form of rocks, although the middle shouldn't be necessarily prioritized, I don't think, over any other section of the map, because there is reclaim everywhere on this map. Because if it's a pizza map, it's going to make you fat with reclaim. So a steady diet of pizza and reclaim, that's what the doctor orders, is what the doctor has ordered today. So incidentally, after I get done with this video, I'm going to be doing, a lot of you guys have been wanting the T1 versus T3 air video. So that one's been in the works for a really long time because I'm planning a really special intro for it. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. After I get done with this cast, I'm going to go put the finishing touches on that bad boy and put it up on the channel. A couple engineers here getting picked off from Kapka, or Kapka's picking off a couple of Aranai's engineers, rather. Aranai getting a little bit daring, expanding out to this mix, pay the price in the form of civilian casualties. Couple Zooies bombarding at range. These bad boys hit, they do some damage. And 28 actually almost done with his gun upgrade. We have gun speed coming from Dalgert, so I don't know if he scouted out the gun damage and range upgrade coming in from 28 or whether he's just acting preemptively. All sorts of upgrades firing across the map here. Sir Kitna getting a T2 upgrade in the middle to undoubtedly firebase the middle, hopefully secure these middle mass extraction points. A little bit of a probing raid here as well from Jakao. Ruler's comm is in the vicinity though, setting up some forward manufacturing, so those mantas probably not going to go anywhere. And Jakao really just picking fights with everybody here. Applekeens has his comm here in the middle, scooping some of this mass. Did set up a point defense though to help secure the position a little bit more. And that point defense in conjunction with the comm here in the middle will mean that Jakao is not really going to get anything done there, unfortunately. With those Mantis. Some FAMs as well coming in from the ruler. Gun speed and range on the way for RNI up in the north. Capca working with the vanilla comm here. Nothing wrong with vanilla. For whatever reason, vanilla gets beaten down a lot more, even though it is a great ice cream flavor. I like vanilla. Very vanilla guy, you know. Play subcom, I cast subcom. Nano repair on the way for 28, so going for a nano gun comm. And Dalgert's going to have to be wary of that. He does have the gun speed upgrade, so he can at least hit back, but he's going to need a good amount of units here to help augment his commander up against gun damage range, or Zephamp and nano repair coming out from 28's comm. So we'll keep an eye on that. 28 definitely looking like he's going to be making a move here pretty soon. And gun damage and range coming in for Capca. So everybody really getting gun upgrades, gun speed and range coming in from Jakao. So everybody getting gun upgrades. Dalgert goes for range, but now we see 28's comm on the move here. Moving in on the spam. Got a little bit of spam in backline of his own, but with Zephamp, of course, you'll be able to single shot these Auroras whenever they come into range, and that's what we start seeing as comm goes to work. Aurora is working with a very small HP pool, only take 2 shots normally, and with the damage upgrade means that 28 is going to be able to carve through these Auroras like a hot knife through butter. Those in a couple of overcharges to be just for good measure. Range only 50% of the way there, so 28 definitely could cancel this upgrade. There's not enough spam for Dalgert in the area to deal with this commander. Capca sending all of his energy to 28, obviously helping him to overcharge as much as possible, even though it is only 74 and 17, etc. But I guess 28 is going to let Dalgert get his gun upgrade here. Meanwhile, up at the top, RNI has gotten himself into a little bit of a pickle here. Let's go to split screen and we can keep an eye on both of these guys. So RNI's spam is outnumbered and outgunned by the comm. 28 is just, though, working with that gun comm, even going after engineer kills. He seems to be wanting to shoot just about everything other than Dalgert's comm here. Not sure if that's by design, whether he wants to just cut the legs out from under Dalgert so he can't do anything, but he's effectively killed off all of the build power. RNI was able to extricate himself from the situation. Throws in a couple of overcharges, but it would appear that RNI is in a much safer position here than 28 as we go back to full screen here. Bomber over the top here for Dalgert as well. These guys are going to cuddle for a little bit. But 28 needs to start thinking about potentially moving his comm to safety. He's moving north to Lodo's expansion as he drops the 9k HP. That's 50% health. The nano definitely giving him a lot of extra beef. But he can't keep just taking punishment like this. He needs to start thinking about moving out. Pathfinding not helping him out at all there, though. Could go for the draw here, potentially. But needs to start thinking about moving to the water here. He drops below 5k HP. And if you're Dalgert here, this is where you commit your comm, and that is exactly what he's doing. Got some T1 bombers over the top as well, helping the situation. And Fervor's adding additional DPS, and this is going to be close. 28 tried to dodge as much as he can, but he drops below 1k HP. Down to 403. Oh, not going to make it to the water. I think if 28 had bugged out there a little bit earlier, that would have been bottom side crushed potentially, but you know what they say, you fly too close to the sun and you turn into a thermonuclear explosion. Gun speed and range though on the way for the ruler. Jakao already got gun speed and range on his comm, so that will put the ruler on equal footing with Jakao in terms of commander, but unfortunately not in terms of spam. Comm deciding to fire into the ground. I hate it when my commander does that. These forward point defense positions will be overrun, but no real threat, I think, here to Ruler's comm. He does have Capelkeens in the vicinity as well, but there's been a ton of fighting here in the middle. Another 10,000 reclaim being deposited. Jakao does look like he has a couple of engineers on attack move. And Capelkeens vacuuming up a good amount of it as well, so it is until they get overcharged to the face. Dalgert, though, with the eviction of 28 from this game, has decided to move into his old base and set up shop. And Sirkitna, recognizing the threat, is setting up some point defense in this choke point. Looks like he went for more of an air build, so not as yet set up for any sort of land engagement, so it's just going to look to buy himself some time there with point defense. But now we've got RNI in a little bit of a precarious situation here. Kapka does have that gun damage and range Zephamp upgrade and has a good amount of spam here. Looks like RNI is going to be forced to back into the water here. That is, of course, going to leave his base pretty undefended, and there's a T2 land HQ in there. Lots of T2 mexes in there that Kapka could definitely help himself to. Drops to 2,700 HP. He needs to get all the way under the water, still eating logo fire on his head. 1,900 HP. You gotta get under the water, dude. That's not a defendable situation. Alright, decides to withdraw beneath the waves, but that does leave his base undefended. T2 engineers are still coming off the line from his factory, only to be promptly met with a Zephamp. But, I mean, RNI really playing with fire here. Drops below 2k HP again. Kapka just kind of camping this pond. And RNI just moving out to give him some love taps, but I don't think that's worth it for how much damage he's ended up taking. Point defense are going to go down. I think there were only 2 point defense there in the middle, and that's going to be it for RNI's base. Always unfortunate to see RNI, one of the higher rated players on team number 2, starting to struggle here. He's still playing with, still like jumping out of the water, throwing a few shots in, and boop, back under the water again. Pops up, drops under 2k HP, decides to take off again. Jakao, 4 ranks of veterancy on his comm. So actually with more HP on that Cybern comm than the ruler is working with on his. RNI still doing his thing, man. Just popping out of the water, popping back in again. Eventually, he too will fly too close to the sun here. And is this the point? 1,500 HP. Mongoose are going to start camping out here. I think what Kapka needs to do here is put a T1 torpedo turret in there. That way negate any of his regen, at least force him to come out and fight. But I'm not sure. RNI doesn't really have a way out of this situation. I think those look pretty impassable to me. Well, that might be a ramp. This may be a ramp right here. I'm not sure. But he definitely doesn't want to go this way. That's going to be certain death. Kapka taking his time, though, with his base. RNI still negative on mass for somehow. Oh, he's building factories back here. I think at this point, you just sack your base, call it a day, and try and rebuild somewhere else. But Kapka starting to pressure north. So he and Jakal look to be synchronizing their assault here a little bit. Kapelkins is moving in to kind of protect this little hole in the front line as the ruler moves his forces north to intercept Kapka's invading forces. Good amount of Ilshevas in that mix. And not a whole lot of T2. There were a couple mongoose in there. I think they've died at this point, so the Ilshevas should be able to clean up a lot of this stuff. Just want to keep them moving though. Doesn't want to be eating artillery. And Jakal again making these probing assaults here. Okay, RNI still in the pond here, and that's where Kapka. Okay, Kapka has finally had enough and gets to work on a T1 torpedo turret. Jakal making a push here. Got a couple of rhinos, a couple of bangers. Cerberus for cover. Of course, we do have Uttawashala. Seraphim T2 point defense. I think with the Seraphim names, really all you have to do is just take your best shot at it and sound confident and add a little bit of an accent. Doesn't really matter what accent, I don't think, but Natha's in. Missing though there for missing on Jakal's comm. Lotus, I guess, is the self-designated air player of this game. And Sirkitna actually moving forward with his commander. Got gun and T2 engineering suite, so looking to expand his defenses to the south. Several hoplites keeping their range here. Gonna decimate those Utashalas, or Uatashalas. And Kapelkin's in a little bit of trouble here. Gun commander advancing on him, as well as supporting Obsidians here from Kitty Cuddles, and he's gonna drop real fast there, under 1,000 hit points already. And that is gonna be Kapelkin's ejection from the game here. Meanwhile, we've had a search and rescue attempt up here at the top, so the ruler sending in a sortie of units to rescue RNI from his pond prison, where there had been a couple of T1 torpedo launchers set up. And Sirkitna now in a little bit of trouble here as well. Does have cover from his point defense, and Dalgert's not going to be pursuing, it looks like, but Sirkitna taking a beating there, down to under 5,000 HP. Dalgert going all in on T1 spam here. Got 10-ish factories, well, 9 with the 10th on the way and 11th scheduled. And with a series of T2 factories back here that are idle for now, except for, oh, this is a T1 factory making a fervor right there. But RNI seems to be moving down to take control of what is formerly Kapelkin's old base. His base up here still existing. Maybe a little bit of a mistake from Kapka to let RNI continue to own those positions there. Continue producing energy en masse, filling up his storage so that he can start anew in a fresh new country. But the ruler starting to lose his point defense, his perimeter defense grid from these hoplites that are just destroying factories as they go. A couple of rhinos here to take some of the forward punishment. The hoplites dish out the damage. And a little bit of forward pressure here from the ruler as well on the top, but needs to divert most of his forces here to address this incoming hoplite rhino banger incursion. Working with a lot of T1 at the front line. There are a couple of Ilshevas in the mix, needs to get those involved. Mislabeled assault bots should be labeled as tier 3 bots. There's a lot of hoplites in there throwing rockets. Okay, in this little lull here that we've got, and I know right as I say that, we're gonna have something crazy happen. Taking stock of where we're at right now, it is a 4v4. R&I is still in this, rebuilding in Capital Keen's old base. While all 4 players on team number 1 are well and truly established as far as bases go. Kitty Cuddles up to T3 air here. We got some Coronas and Swift Winds harassing the air from Lodos. Every time I say that, it sounds like Lotus. It's Lotos, not Lotus. He's not a car, he's a commander, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that one. It was a joke, laugh. Commandants. Thank you. Tactical missile upgrade coming in from Kapka. Adding that to his Zeph amp that he already has on board. Could go for a T2/T3 engineering suite to go for the tactical missile machine gun, assuming he has the eco. Stealth is also on the way here for Jakao, who has a fully vetted commander actually. And now that he has the fully vetted commander, wants to make sure that nobody can find him. And the ruler is staring down a rather large force on both sides of his base. Gabka in the north with a good amount of T1, T2 units, a couple Skyboxers, some Mongoose in there, and a rather sizable force from Jakao on the other side. So hoplites, rhinos, bangers, you name it. He got it. And Lodos has been quiet this game. Got a good army here. Does look like he wants to try and pressure Sirkitna's middle forces. Sirkitna building the Maginot line here, down in this little pass. I guess it wouldn't be the Maginot line. I guess we can make it more like the Black Gates. Using the terrain to his advantage to make a impregnable fortress. The ruler could use an impregnable fortress right about now. Got 2 T2 defense online. I think a shield generator as well. That'll definitely help him. Got another 2 covering the front door. Could get these guys to working on another one. I'm not sure what his mass situation looks like. Well, he does have the bandwidth. We do have a push from Lodos. Don't think that push is going to go anywhere. There's T1 and T2 point defense. Utashalas and Utaus. Seraphim names sound very German. Very Germanic. Not sure if it's based on German language or Germanic language at all, but it sounds very, very Germanic. The ruler getting pressure here through the front. Lots of his units are going to fall to this hoplite spam, as well as Jakao's comm right up here at the front with that stealth upgrade. Oh, and Sirkitna has been defeated by Dalgert. I am not sure what killed him. Are there any tactical missiles? Strap bomb run? I'm not sure. But either way, I need to focus on what's going on up here. No crying over spilled milk. We must soldier on. Hoplites putting a battering on the shield. Mongoose moving in from the top. This is looking pretty bad here for the ruler. As units not focusing his commander like maybe they should. Hoplites just kind of focusing on T2 point defense, power generation. There is very little offensive firepower or defensive firepower left in here for the ruler though. Jakao moves in on his comm. Teammate could do with getting those parashields in to help Jakao. Jakao using the parashields to his advantage there. Storm of hoplite missiles come in, and that is going to be the ruler ejected from the game. Defeated by Jakao at 22 minutes in. And that levels it at 3-3 with Sirkitna's ejection from down here at the bottom. And with the Black Gate having fallen, Dalgert taking this opportunity to now push in and mess a little bit with Kitty Cuddles' base. Kitty Cuddles making the jump, it looks like, to T3 land right now, but very little ground or air to ground firepower for him. As he stares down this mixture of T1, T2 advancing towards his base. He's flying his interceptors above, I guess, for the intimidation factor. Gets a couple of Spectres out. Now we have some Janus. That could be great if they would drop some of their napalm. They do a wheelie. Not a wheelie, a Yui. Spectres struggling here against the Thistle Fire. And Janus can't seem to make up their minds about where they want the targets to be, about what they want the targets to be. I think at this point you could just pick anything in this mix and it would be good. Don't want it too close to the base though. Ping's going down on the energy storage from Kitty Cuddles, and this is, oh, that was a beautiful chain reaction. Oh man. Air Factory is going down. I think that was the HQ. T2 land HQ under threat now. Where is Kitty Cuddles' comm? Kitty Cuddles' comm is moving into the fray. He does have a T3 engineering suite, which will help him be a little bit more tanky. Engineer's trying to get Oblivion turrets up. And do better with his comm to assist those Oblivion turrets instead of getting into the middle of this. But help has arrived from Jakal. Hoplites and Mantis moving in from the east. And Kitty Cuddles does have a couple of Obsidians and Blazes on the field, so comes as a very welcome respite. And Kitty Cuddles lives to fight another day, but pretty much every single mass extraction point in his main base has been surgically removed from the encircling mass storage. Broadswords as well, circling from Kapka, and Kapka's got his own little force here to help assist. Needs to micro them though against these fervors. But they have bought enough time to get some Oblivion turrets up in the base, and Kitty Cuddles needs to get his eco rebuilt now. Goes straight for some T3 mass extractors. What's that doing for his eco? Well, he's still positive, even with building T3 mass. He does have a good amount of mass. Okay, so he does have three tier 3 mass extraction points in the middle here. Which is good. He's actually reclaiming his T2 land factories as well to give him a little bit of extra boost. And we got a GC under construction for him at the front, so even with that damage, his economy's still not looking in too terrible of a shape, which is definitely good for team number 1 in this game. But friends help each other. Great to see some teamwork here. As Jakal and Kapka move in to help their buddy who fell on some bad times. Meanwhile, RNI, we haven't talked about him in a while, has basically entirely rebuilt in Kapelkeen's old base. Got T2 air up, got T2 land up, cranking out some Ilshivas. He has bounced back quite nicely. Jakal, though, moving into the ruler's old base, and RNI, his time of being in the rocking chair here is going to be over soon as a threat looms to his north. Broadsword's coming in to help. Strap Bomber in as well, gets taken out. There's a good amount of flak and T1 mobile anti-air in this mix that's just taking apart these stingers as they come in. They will run into this line of Oblivion turrets, which do a good amount of damage, taking out some of these T2 units. They're coming in, shift their focus to T1, and I don't think this raid is going to be anywhere near as successful as the last one with these Oblivion turrets in play here. And Jakal actually just giving over his army that was guarding the southern approach over to Kitty Cuddles. Now RNI is going to have to stand on his own 2 feet here. Got gun, nano, and T2 engineering suite on the comm, so that comm is going to take a little bit more than a light breeze to blow over. Could do with some energy storage though. Getting some T2 point defense online the north of his base to start lasering down these units. And I doubt that attack is going to go anywhere, so we'll shift our attention elsewhere to the eco. Team 2 struggling on the eco side of things at 409k total mass accrued, while Team 1 has 544,000 mass accrued. So Team 1 running away with it eco-wise, with actually our chip leader being Kitty Cuddles at 180,000 mass accrued total, with Jakao and Kapka coming in second and third respectively. It's to be expected that RNI is taking a little bit of time to get back up on his feet here, considering he lost his initial base. RNI at 63k, Lodos at 114, and Dalgert at 169,000 total mass accrued. So Dalgert doing quite well in the mass game for Team 2. He was able to move into 28's old base relatively early. He's got a lot of this with covered with T3 mass extraction points. Of course, as I zoom in, the only things that I see are T2 mass extraction points, but there's his base, T3 in his base. And Dalgert mounts another offensive here. This line of Oblivion turrets has matured, and there is a Cybran army here standing guard, gifted over from Jakao. Jakao has actually sent in another force here. And the army of Dalgert is not going to make it anywhere. It's going to litter mass all on Kitty Cuddles' doorstep here. And Kitty Cuddles, still needing to rebuild some of his mass extraction points, is going to see that as a welcome sight. Actually losing a couple more to these obsidians that somehow snuck around or through the defensive line. Do with some shield gens here to blunt incoming artillery fire. How's that GC coming? It is being reclaimed, so it is going the opposite direction. So Kitty Cuddles deciding to prioritize his mass elsewhere. We do have a crab nearly completed here for Jakao. And any experimentals on the way for Kapka? Doesn't look like it. What about team number 2? Let's check in on team 2. Not seeing any experimental production as of yet. Unless I'm missing something, which is very, very possible. And I don't think RNI has matured his base enough to go for any sort of tier 4 advanced weaponry. Dalgert might need to rethink this strategy of mass T1 spam. It's not doing a whole lot, not doing super well. I mean, it does help that a lot of this reclaim does end up getting destroyed by these Oblivion turrets, but it's still not ideal. And there's that megalith done there for Jakao. It starts stomping its way towards the front line. And RNI actually getting pretty ballsy there with his commander, especially against Percival's from Kapka. So that's going to represent a threat here for RNI's newly constructed base. Does have a good bank of point defense, got a shield covering, got another shield on the way to get some overlapping shield action here. Strap bomb comes in though. A series of strap bombs come in, vectoring in on RNI's comm. That shield generator came up in the nick of time there. And it looks like Kitty Cuddles was looking at following it up with some gunships, but the newly erected shield, looks like he thought twice about that. Percival's though going to work on point defense, 2 down, 3 to go. And not a whole lot other than point defense and the commander up here to help, although RNI using his comm to pretty good effect here. Throwing out some great overcharges there on the Percivals. And that means that pretty much everything else is going to be just T1. With the exception of this Mongoose. There are more Percivals stacking up, and we do have a Demolisher back in the back. Moving into Shell at range. Meanwhile, at the south, it looks like Dalgert actually got enough units put together. Just massive amounts of fervors. Trying to just overwhelm this position with brute force. And it looks like he's going to do it there too. Go to split screen here to take a look at the two theaters again. Starting to really like my split screen action, as I'm sure you guys have noticed. That is a lot of units, and we got some Harbs in here as well. Kitty Cuddles in trouble. Kitty Cuddles taking a lot of fire here, and I think he's going to go down. Unless he's really got some fancy footwork there. Or like an experimental on the way or something. Is he going to go down? Is Dalgert going to let him get away? Really? Fervor's dropping him down below 1000 HP again. This Harb is on the case. 3 Harbs here, or 2 get taken out by a great strap bomb shot there. Kitty Cuddles dropping to 100 HP. Is he gonna make it? No, he's not gonna make it. Right? He's not gonna make it? Kitty Cuddles, are you alive? Hello? Okay, no, you're dead. You've got lots of Harbs that just literally need to target you. Pew, 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 pew. And down. Kitty Cuddles evicted from this game by Dalgert. Boo, GG. You played well, dude. Everybody's playing well this game. I am having a blast here. This megalith, though, that we were talking about, looks like it's taken a beating from somewhere. We were busy watching Kitty Cuddles' demise. But it is now shelling Lotos base. Lotos rushing, putting a rush order on an Athoda here. 44,000 HP. About 2/3 of the way done there. And this megalith is kind of needlessly taking point defense fire. He needs to start dealing with the point defenses that are shooting him and not the ones that aren't. There we go. Okay. Shifts up. We'll eat through that shield gen. Shouldn't take him long to get through the heavy one either. There we go. Alright. One down. Second to follow. Load. How did that get finished so fast? Oh, okay. It must have been damaged before. And now it's getting repaired. Okay. So, happy board Stefan D, because he's got a mod on to name his experimental, is this Athoda is going to be moving towards the front, but that megalith is doing a smackdown on Lotus space, loses T3 power as well as what I think was his HQ. Athoda is in range though, begins opening fire, and Arenal is in a really risky position here with his commander. Throws in an overcharge, really close to killing him, but not quite enough. RNI, after all the work that he did rebuilding Kapelkeen's old base, ends up getting ejected from 34 minutes into the game. So that makes it 2v2. We got Lotos and Dalgert versus Kapka and Jakal. And Dalgert actually working on a Czar here. Czar? We could call it a Za. You want some Za, bro? Get it? Because we're on a pizza map. Anyway, he gets to work on the Flying Saucer of Doom. Only using his commander, though. It does have T3 Engineering Suite on it, so it is advancing rather quickly. We have another sortie of T1 units that is running into a very large contingent of bricks and bouncers. Gonna need to rethink that, Ghost Rider. Pattern is full. Don't really know what that means, but it sounds good. And Lotos has got a megalith here on his doorstep that he could be reclaiming. Going for an Omni sensor. Definitely a good thing to get, but should probably take a handful of those engineers and drop them on that megalith. Speaking of megalith, we've got another one on the way here for Jakao. Jakao cranking these bad boys out. He has another one? Yeah, nope, but we do have a fat boy almost done here for Kapka. And that is going to be a tall order for team number 2 to deal with. Both that megalith and that fat boy. Long range artillery fire and a hell of a lot of HP to chew through. Gonna be a tall order to deal with an Athoda all by his lonesome. Does have a lot of harbs in the area for Dalgert, so maybe they pull this off. Dalgert also making the transition to T3 air. What's that Czar doing? Okay, he has committed much more build power to that Czar. Coming up on 25% of the way done. And is continuing to throw units at this western pass. Bricks are just smiling and waving though. At the fervors. Fat Boy opens up some of the harbs there for Dalgert, as well as what looks like a T1 rally point for Lotos. And the Fat Boy, I would assume, is going to take its place, the Megalith's right hand. And I would think that that is going to be moving in on Lotos's base. How's that Czar doing? That Czar can get up. I believe Team 2 does have air control? I don't know. Dalgert is the one with ASF, so let's do a quick ASF check. A 28 ASF. And I was seeing ASF there for Kapka. 21 ASF for Kapka. So with the Czar, I would say that team number 2 has air control relatively handily. And could definitely turn this around with the Czar. But that needs to get done in very short order as the Fat Boy and the Megalith begin advancing on Lotos's base. The Athoda is playing chicken here and running away. Get it? Because it's a chicken. I'm full of great jokes today. I'm here all week, guys. I'm here all week. But honestly, even with the Czar, there's a ton of bouncers here. So the Czar, in concert with the ASF, might have some issues. But Lotos's main base is going to go down. I guess the Athoda, he thought the Athoda would be better put to work taking out these forces in front up at the north, and is going to sacrifice his primary base. We got Spectres doing what they can against the brick advance, but that's not going to do anything with the bouncers. Jakao making sure that his units have ample T3 mobile anti-air. Alright, Czar is completed now. So, where does the Czar go? Does it go after the experimentals? Not yet, I guess. I guess he thinks that this is a more immediate threat. Got lots of T1 bombers vectoring in as well in these bricks position. As long as these bombers get their bombs off, it's semi-worth it. And where does Czar go? Okay, it's redirected again, going north. Going north. What is a possible target here? We've got Kapka's comm here in the water. That water is not deep enough, sir. We can see you sticking out. And that Czar is going to go right over his head. And I don't think that there's anything in the area to respond to this. Kapka scrambles his air force, but it's too late. Kapka taken out by a Czar at 39 minutes into this game. All of these ASF will also fall because there is no full share on. So you don't need to move the Czar to chase after that army. Dalgert realizes this, but he is on a clock of his own here. We've got A megalith moving in on his main base. T1 bombers are attempting to defend, so this Czar needs to do some serious damage to Jakao here. Ideally kill his commander, which is right here. Does have stealth. Go to a split screen again to see how this actually plays out. The Czar comes in. Lodos Sakam is hiding down there. Czar losing HP very quickly. He can drop it on his head, maybe, but that's a fully vetted comm. Oof. And he's gonna miss. That's not good. Meanwhile, T1 Bomber's doing what they can here, but just doesn't have enough to do anything significant here to the megalith. And bricks are coming in. GC was under construction. Where are their comms? Well, Lotos is making a break for it. Dalgert trying to set up Oblivion turrets, but not going to be able to get enough up, I don't think, to deal with this. I believe that is going to be game over. Bricks storm the base, overwhelm the point defense that was newly erected. Whole air grid goes up in one great chain reaction there. Dalgert's commander under threat and goes down, leaving Lotos as the only commander who moves in behind this blinding light and does what he can before his own ACU goes critical. Great game, guys. Great game. That Czar was clutch. I think if they had been a little bit more targeted and just dropped Jakao and then dropped Kapka and then immediately made for Jakao's commander, might have been a different ending to the game. Who knows? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go eat some pizza now. I encourage you guys to do the same, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.